Hello there and welcome to episode 5 of our S.C.O.T Soirées series, and tonight you've got me, Aaron Hawthorne. I am in absolute awe as to how quickly time has passed since we first went live with episode 1 all of 5 weeks ago. If this is your first time listening in, well, lucky you. You've got 4 other episodes you can enjoy listening back to at your leisure, featuring some very talented musicians such as Michael Wooldridge, Gordon Cree and Donald Mackenzie. And of course a huge thank you to those of you who have been tuning in week on week and providing us with such encouraging feedback. Lots more to come over the coming weeks. Now, the biggest struggle for me right now is that I don't actually have a practice instrument in my own home, apart from the piano. I've always relied on the Wurlitzer in Pollokshaws Borough Hall, which is a very short and convenient commute for me. But a trip out there just now isn't essential travel, and even if I did get there, the building would be locked up. It's almost heartbreaking to think of the Wurlitzer just sat there on the stage, not being played for months on end. But we have got to stay positive, and the show must go on. And we're lucky to have pre-recorded music so that we can keep the sound of the theatre organ live on the airwaves, as it were. Many of these recordings have never been heard before, really because they were never intended for publication. We organists have either plonked a recording device down during a practice session or perhaps during a performance so that we can listen back and do what we do best, be our own critics. And indeed, that phrase of "the show must go on" has been applied all across the arts recently, as we've seen many artists taking to technology to keep shows showing, dancers dancing, musicians making music, and so on. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching some of the musicals that have recently been streamed online, and one such musical was Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera. When, like me, you play in such venues as Kelvingrove Art Gallery and Museum, you have to have a number like Phantom up your sleeve, as it's always a bit of a crowd pleaser, which is what those recitals are all about. So hopefully I can please some of you out there right now with this medley from The Phantom of the Opera, played on the Pollokshaws 3-manual 21 rank Wurlitzer. We, and I quote, young organists are always encouraged to play modern music, which in itself is a very loose term. I once attended a theatre organ concert, and I won't mention any names, but the organist very enthusiastically said, "And now, bringing us right up to modern times, here's the music of ABBA." They're not to be blamed, though, as much of modern so-called music really doesn't translate well on an instrument like the organ. There's a complete absence of melody line, which is substituted for drum and bass, which we can't replicate too well. Fortunately, however, the movies seem to be providing us with some more workable music as of recent times. I was really amazed by the new Mary Poppins Returns film when it came out last year, having always been a huge fan of the original 1964 film. There are lots of great audio and visual motifs which play tribute to the original very, very tastefully. I've been very fortunate over the past year or so to travel around the UK visiting some very fine theatre organs, and fortunately one or two of these concerts have actually been recorded. So here's a recording of a performance in the Victoria Hall in Saltaire near Bradford on the stunning 312 Wurlitzers situated there. Here's a lovely little number reminiscent of Feed the Birds from the original motion picture, called The Place Where Lost Things Go, which is from the 2019 sequel. Well, while we're out and about, we might as well go to the seaside. I played in the Worthing Assembly Hall, which is on the south coast, at the beginning of the year, only 2 days after returning from my second visit to Rochester, New York. I was very much still jet-lagged sat at the console, so I tried to wake myself up a bit with a bit of spontaneous improvisation, and I chose to do this on the lovely traditional Scottish tune of the Skye Boat Song. Back to Pollokshaws now, as I'd thought I'd end with a song which has been doing the rounds recently. There's been a lot of symbolism going on throughout this period of lockdown, one of them being that of our rainbow, used both to show the support for our National Health Service and to remind us that the grass is greener on the other side. Of course, I am referring to Over the Rainbow, famously tied with Judy Garland, starring as Dorothy in the 1939 film adaptation of The Wizard of Oz. This clip comes from the end of a medley of some of Judy Garland's most famous tunes, seeing as that wonderful film, aptly called Judy, came out not far from this concert in Pollokshaws last year. And that's all we have time for this week, so all the best for the days ahead. Do keep safe, healthy and occupied, and please do continue to tune in to these weekly broadcasts. And remember, somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Hello there and welcome to episode 5 of our S.C.O.T Soirées series, and tonight you've got me, Aaron Hawthorne. I am in absolute awe as to how quickly time has passed since we first went live with episode 1 all of 5 weeks ago. If this is your first time listening in, well, lucky you. You've got 4 other episodes you can enjoy listening back to at your leisure, featuring some very talented musicians such as Michael Wooldridge, Gordon Cree and Donald Mackenzie. And of course a huge thank you to those of you who have been